to Crafternoons with Becki, a brand new series in which I show you how to paint certain things on pottery with my business, Paint Pot. So Paint Pot is a local business to Southampton and surrounding areas. We provide rental kits to customers in their own homes or for parties, events. We also do pop-ups for the small business market attached. So keep an eye out for our next one. Today I'm going to be showing you how to paint your favourite character. I think it's probably everyone's favourite character from Disney, and that's going to be Stitch. And we're going to do that on a coaster, keep it nice and simple for you and for me. And we will be following one of Disney's instructions on how to draw Stitch, and we'll be doing it on pottery. So we'll see how that turns out. Should we get started? So we're going to start off with drawing like a rough circle on your coaster. You can do that in the centre, or if you want it slightly off, that is completely up to you. But it's going to be like more of an oval circle, just like I've done. Then what you want to do is you want to do like a curved line, and that will signify where the middle of Stitch's head is, and then another curved line, and that's going to signal where the bottom of his nose is going to sit, and then a smaller line, and that's where his mouth is going to sit. So from there, just underneath the middle line, you want to draw up and round, and that is going to be one of his ears. So remember, drawing with felt tip, that will burn off in the kiln, so don't worry if you make any mistakes here. That's going to be absolutely fine to do. So you want to do again, just under the middle line and up and round. So this one's slightly closer to, not to camera as such, but to the person looking at it. So the left ear is going to be slightly bigger than the right ear because he's slightly tilting his head in the way that we're drawing this. So now what you want to do is add the slight bend in his ear. So let's just draw two little curves up, and then he has a little triangle piece taken out of his ear. So you're going to do that on both sides. And one slightly higher up than the other. Then we're going to add a little tuft of hair at the top, so just kind of a little bit of a fluff. And then we're going to draw his like eye like area. So not his eyes exactly, but his eye area. So you're just going to draw two more ovals. One is going to be slightly bigger because it's closer to you than the other. And use the lines we've already drawn as a guide. And then you're going to draw his nose as well, and that's a nice little oval in the middle. He's quite big, so try and make it between the ovals that big basically, and two little lines for his nose. We do a little smile, so using that line that we've already drawn as a guide, we're going to add the smile. So my circle was a little bit too oval, so do try and do a circle when you draw yours. And then we're going to add his teeth, so lovely 4 triangles, and then his tongue, so you're going to do some curved lines in the middle. We're actually going to add his eyes now, so that's 2 more ovals, and they are quite off-centre, so slightly closer to the inside of the face. He has some little eyebrows, so I'm just drawing those in now. And yeah, that is the basics of his face. So I'm adding his neck and arms, so he's going to be waving hello. You don't have to do that, but oh, and don't forget to add his little highlights. So yeah, as I say, I'm adding his arms to wave hello, but again, you don't have to do that. This is obviously not a guided part of it. I'm just doing this by eye. But yeah, you can copy what I've done, and yeah, I'm just going over things now just to make sure they're perfect. So for the stitch colours, we are going to go with 12 if you're using Paint Pot. For people who aren't, that's going to be Carabein blue, and then 11, and that again is going to be blue Yonder. We're also going to use 6, which is Pinkadot. And then that's going to be for his ears and the middle of his hand. And then we're going to be using the classic black to do his eyes and the outline and his nails. and then we're going to be using the Carabein blue and black mixed together to get the colour of his nose. We've also got 8 and 7, that's going to be for his mouth, and those are Rosey, Posey and Wine About It. So I'll list all of those colours in the bottom of the description, so if you do want to go exact by colours, then you can do that. So we're going to start painting the blue. So the blue is going to be all over for his main fur, so I'll cut to that now. As with all pottery painting, if you want a really bold colour, you're going to want to paint the colour 3 times, so 3 coats of paint, but don't worry too much because pottery painting, obviously it dries very quickly, and with stitch it is fur, so it doesn't matter too much if it is a little bit patchy because it will just add to the design. Right, so next up we're going to be using number 11, so we're going to be doing his lighter fur and his outer eye area, and so yeah, we'll just paint that now. So just to mention, it is okay to do lighter colours where you know there's going to be a darker colour on top. So for his eyes, for example, I know that black's going over the top, so that's easily going to show through. So we don't need to worry too much about that. However, if it was going to be blue over black, then I would leave a gap. So now we're going to get on with painting his ears. So this is just the pinker dot colour, and we'll do that 3 times. Okay, so now it's time for his nose. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of the Carabein blue in there, and then I'm going to add some black to it and then mix it up. So I'm looking for like a navy-ish colour, something that will just slightly stand out above the normal blue, but not too much. I don't want it too dark. So yeah, so mix that up there, and just do 1 coat of that just to see how it sits. So I'm pretty pleased with the colour for that. I'm just going to go over it again, obviously once it's dried, and see how that sits again. But I think it's probably needing a tiny bit more darkness, so I add a tiny bit more black to mixture, and then that final extra coat will just add a little bit of darkness to it. So going now into his mouth, so we're going to do the outer edges darker. So we're going to do the tongue first, it's the bigger area. So just remember to avoid his 4 teeth and just basically paint his tongue. So now we're going to take our darker pink colour and we're going to use the detail writing nozzle. As it comes out 3 coats, it's best to do that on the smaller areas so it's easier for you and we know that it's going to be a nice thick colour. So here comes the tricky bit. Now I decided that I wanted to outline the entirety of stitch. Now you don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you're unsure on how to do lining or if you've just got a little bit of shaky hands. I mean, my hands are still shake after 5 years of pottery painting nearly every week, so I think it adds to the design, but I know not everyone likes that. My best advice would be to test out the squeezy writers on your palette first so you know how quickly the paint's going to come out, and also just make sure you've shaken all the paint all the way down because if you do tip it up the other way, sometimes you can have a bit of a explosion of paint come out and that can ruin your perfectly lovely drawing. As you see, I'm slightly done that on his eye. You see me hesitate because there's a little bit of extra paint come out than I was expecting. Anyway, yeah, so I decided to line absolutely every bit of stitch, just how I like to do things. When I draw cartoons, I quite like the lining of them, but yeah, so I'll finish that up and then we'll get to the eyes. Okay, so same principle for the eyes. I tend to do the outline first and then fill in the middle, and I leave a gap for where there's going to be like a twinkle in his eye just because I want the white to stand out quite a bit. And yeah, just fill out the edges, fill in his eyebrows, and then that is stitch. Last thing to do for Stitch himself is to add the little whites of his eyes. As I said, I left a gap so it would be nice and bright and bold, and I used the detail writer for that so it's nice and thick. So for this one I decided that I wanted to add a bit of an accent to the coaster. So what we have with every one of our rental kits is washi tape. So with washi tape you can tape over your painting. I always recommend to just take a little bit of the stickiness off it first by just tapping the table with it, and then you can make sure that your painting is dry as well before you do it, and then that will stop any paint going on anything that you don't want it to. It also allows you to paint super straight lines and designs that way too, but that will be a future video. For this one we're just trying to keep the pink off of the stitch drawing. Okay, so we're all done. We have finished drawing Stitch. I am super pleased with how he turned out. I'm hoping you're able to follow along the step-by-steps. You can definitely do this at most pottery painting studios. I will list all the colours that I used for Stitch below, the paint colours. But if you come to Paint Pot to have to do your own Stitch, then it's going to be much easier because I'll be able to tell you exactly which colours. So you can grab a rental kit and keep that at home and paint away your Stitch, or we do pop-ups as well. So So I'd love to see you. Follow this video just to get a nice step-by-step tutorial on how to draw him. We will have more videos to show other things, and in a few seconds you're about to see him glazed, but for me it's in a few days, so let's see what he looks like. So I just wanted to throw in a quick action shot, as I'm sure you don't see glazing very often unless you're a potter. So this is Stitch getting glazed in our very rough and ready garage. Welcome back to How to Draw Stitch, the results. So Stitch has been in the kiln, so it's been moments for you, but for me it's been a week or so. So it's nice to see it finally come out of the kiln. It's always a bit of a worry as to how it's going to turn out, so I'm very excited to reveal this to you. So without further ado, here is Stitch. So I'm actually super pleased with how he's come out. The colours are lovely and vivid, and I love the line work because it's not perfect as pottery painting usually isn't. So there's slightly gaps around it, which gives it more of an artistic feel in my opinion. The highlights in the eyes, love that, and I'm really glad I decided to do the border on the coaster because it really gives it that pop. But yeah, I'm super pleased with it, and you'll be able to create this too if you just follow these step by step. The colours are quite simple for Paintpot customers because you can just follow along with the numbers that I've posted. But if you are not local to Southampton, then you can use the colours that are listed below in the description. So just go to any pottery painting studio and say, look, I want to paint Stitch. This is the video I've seen, and then you can paint along. Yeah, I'm so pleased with how he's turned out. I'm going to display him, or you know, I might do a giveaway, so watch this space. This is just a first video in a long line of Crafternoons with Becki. So if you really like this, I'd love if you would subscribe to the channel. Drop us a follow on Instagram. You don't have to be local to follow along on what we do there. You'll get lots of inspiration from the customers that paint things, and obviously I'll be painting some more in the future. But yeah, next up we're going to be painting a ring dish, which is super exciting because it's something quite different to what you would usually paint with pottery painting. So I hope you enjoyed today. Drop us a follow and we'll see you next time. Bye.